We got, man, there's some less stories this week, but big ones. These are big deals today. Holy shit. I'm so excited to talk about them. All right, here we go. I'm going to count it down and play this here button here. Whoops. That's the wrong one, Scott. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Core. It's Core for Thursday, July 15th, 2021. I'm Scott Johnson, Bo Schwartz, and John Jagger joining me today, talking about the games business industry, games we're playing, and more. Thank you for checking out Core. We really appreciate it. And biggest thanks to our patrons who ever so nicely support us each and every month and make it possible for the show to stay on the air. Patreon.com/Core Show for more. If I could read, that'd be great. /Core Show is what I meant to say. You guys, did anyone play Proteus like I told you to? Or did nobody take my advice and play Proteus?
I didn't Scott, we're fighting crippling video game addiction between both Bo and I. We don't have time for other things.
Yeah, I noticed. Both y'all are pretty, and we'll get into this later, but you guys are all in on the Final Fantasy 14. And, Bo's maybe a voice of possible
It's a limited series in my case, but we can get to that later.
Okay.
Unless we're talking about it now.
Interesting. That smells like beef. Dragon beef. Anyway, we'll get to that and much more. I played some really fun stuff as well this week, but I'm telling you, you needed to play Proteus for the soundtrack alone. I've been listening to that soundtrack nonstop all week. I've played the game multiple times as well. It's a hell of a thing. I'm telling you, go get your Doom Scratch itched because you need it. All right, let's do this. All right, we're going to dive right in. Big things happened this week. For example, the rumors apparently turned out to be true. Steam/Valve was indeed working on a handheld game, or primarily handheld game console.
I want a handheld game console.
It'll also dock into a PC environment, which you can totally do, but that'll be sold separately. I guess they're not including it with it, which is kind of a bummer, but that's fine. Whatever. That thing will have wired internet and a bunch of ports, and just think of it as almost like the old notebook docks you would get to turn your notebooks into more of a complete PC back in the day. I guess that's still a thing.
So you mean, does this have a plug-in to TV functionality, Switch style?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, if you buy the optional dock, yes, that is correct.
So it's a Steam Switch, basically.
Yes. Or better yet. Well, okay, here's the thing. You don't need the dock to plug it into your TV. If you want to just go straight from that thing to HDMI out to your TV, you can totally do that. That's not a problem.
Perfect.
But the dock will just give you, like I said, direct 1080p internet and everything else. Everything, all the other extra ports you might want for extra controllers or charge and stuff.
Use it like a PC or a laptop.
Basically, yeah. It will run like a PC and has the power to do it. It's pretty interesting. Wow. So we'll start going over this a little bit. There's a lot to cover. But we'll go ahead and dive in. For some reason that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Hold on, you guys. I got to get this up so chat can see it. There we go. Okay. So they announced it. It's their handheld. As you can see by this image I'm about to put up, there it is. It looks like a big handheld, switchy looking mother effer. It's a bit of a beast, actually. It's just by first glance, and some of the buttons are up kind of high, which is weird. And, just like my first impressions were like, oh, wait, how's that going to work? Where are my thumbs going to go?
Yeah, it looks like the B button is slowly escaping from the device itself. Yeah. They haven't stopped it quite yet. It's just on its way.
Getting the H out of there. So I guess IGN and a few other sites got hands-on with this thing and have been playing with it and saying mostly very positive things about it, and addressing some of those issues, like how's the D-pad? How are the buttons? How are the sticks? That sort of thing. And most of that I've read has been pretty positive. Here's some of the basics so we can just sort of get to it. They call it Steam Deck. That's the name. They call it
It's not a great name.
I like Steam Deck. You don't like that name? Steam Deck. It's pretty good.
Because it just makes me think of upper deckers and steaming decks.
Cleveland
Depending on what country you're from, it's going to sound like you're saying a whole different thing every time you describe it. What
do you mean, like in Norway? Like Steamadecka?
Steamadecka.
people say Steam Deck, and I hear Steam Dick every time. I'm just gonna be honest. It might be I'm immature, but I hear Steam Dick every time.
Oh yeah, New Zealanders. Pass me my Steam Dick.
Yeah, they're gonna call it Dick.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll straight up call it Dick. Yeah, like when they say band meeting and Brit instead of Brett. Like I've watched Flight of the Conchords. I know what's up.
It's gonna be a Steam Dick.
Yeah, it's a Steam Dick.
And that's fine. Like, hey, be into what you're into. I'm just saying, like,
I fail to see how this is a negative thing. I think, it's great.
I like it as a name.
Sense.
Yeah.
Sounds like Dick. It's cool. Yeah.
It's cool if it sounds like Dick.
It was more the upper decker. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's fine. It's fine. It's a good name. It's punchy, simple, and it's what it is. It's not trying to be like, we're Alupio or Rendolo Palm. They always try to find these weird words that are workshopped in some weird IT think tank, and you're like, okay.
Randolo Palm. I kind of like where you were going.
Randola Palm sounds like a bard.
The Amazon Randola Palm.
There you go. Great website. Check it out. So they announced it.
Amazon's awesome.
They call it a powerful all-in-one portable PC with a custom processor developed in cooperation with AMD. They say it's comparable to a gaming laptop with the ability to run the latest AAA games. Your Steam library will be on a deck to play games wherever and whenever you want. Steam Deck is also an open PC, adding the ability to install any software and connect with any hardware. That being said, it's important to note that this thing is not shipping with Windows, but it will run Windows. I would probably just put Windows on here, I think. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, if I'm even going to get one. But let's get to the core basics here. The new processor is co-developed by AMD. They say it is optimized using AMD's Zen 2 technology and their RDNA 2 architecture. Supports 16 gigabit of LPDDR5 RAM. That's very fast RAM.
A lot of letters.
It's a lot of letters. The Steam Deck will be available in 64 gigabyte, 256 gigabyte, and 512. Those two latter sizes will be, what's the new SSDs that are so fast? I forgot the name now.
NVNM or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. NVN. The stuff the Xbox and the PlayStation is using a similar technology. It's like that.
Yeah.
The 64 is not.
Onboard solid state, like a PCIe solid state or something.
Right.
Like that.
I don't know why.
The NVMe SSD.
NVMe, that's it. NVMe. Really fast SSD storage capacity, which is cool.
Oh, and add-ons with micro SD cards. Oh.
Yeah. So if you were,
I was going to say the 64 gig seems like, why buy that? Like, many games would not fit on a 64 gig. Like Gears 5 is like 150 gigs.
Yeah.
So
you'd basically turn it into a massive indie device if that's the one you got. But then I guess the SD cards would extend that some, but they're not going to be as fast as SSD. MVNE, so ME rather.
Yeah, it seems like there's one good option and two gimped options from.
Well, I mean, you always want the max option, but I think that middle one sounds okay. I think.
Yeah, maybe, but there's depending on what you're playing, like it's the convenience factor too. Just if you have a 150 gig game on it, then you can't put 250 gig games on your device, and it seems like it'd be nice to install a handful of games.
Sure. Well, to me, it's like making the decision. Well, actually, the consoles come with whatever default size drives they have, and as big as a terabyte sounds for my Series X, I've already filled it with stuff because there's a ton of games to put on there. Now, am I playing them all at once? No. Could I manage that better? Yes. Not that big a deal to re-download stuff or to you don't like. I run into this problem with the Series S, which is 512 gigs. Like I downloaded Gears, but then like I want to try Yakuza Like a Dragon. I want to try this game. Like it's full before I know it. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to reinstall Gears every time I want to play it, but I'm not going to play that game every single day. It's going to be like a once a month. Let me pop it open.
Yeah.
So I'm really. I mean, buy what you want. It's sweet that they have it, but I really feel like it's. You don't realize how much it sucks till you start having to reinstall everything all the time.
Yeah, I think SSDs would be the way to go. You can get terabyte SD cards for pretty cheap. And when I did that to my Switch Lite, it changed my whole world because I went from being able to handle maybe 2 AAA games and a couple of indies to pretty much not running out for everything I have on there. So I just load it on this terabyte, and it's great. I think that what you'll see is some people going for the low-end one for the price and then adding SDs. for storage, which would kind of accomplish like getting external drives for your console. It's kind of the same idea, I guess. And it will support external drives too, funny enough, because it's basically a PC. Anyway, the unit does include a USB-C port, which can be utilized for multiple peripherals, including monitor, mouse, keyboard, even multiple controllers plugged in at the same time. So it's basically a Thunderbolt connection, so it can handle multiple stuff at once. Got a lot of bandwidth there. It'll also charge that way. They went out of their way to say it will not run Windows out of the box, but keep in mind if you decide to purchase, you can put it on there later if you want. It says Valve's recent history with creating their own OS for Steam PCs, it makes sense they chose to run with their own operating system. That leaves a bunch of questions open for me regarding what can I install and play, given that it's their OS and not every game supports that OS. And,
can I install the Blizzard app and play Hearthstone?
Right. Maybe, because it's an open platform. So the answer actually to that is yes. You just have to install Windows, or I don't know if they have a Linux version of Hearthstone. I don't think they do. If they did, I think that would just run natively on the Steam OS, because that's just Linux.
If they have some emulation where they could run a Windows-based application off of, I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, that's possible too. That's all of those things are possible. But that's my question, because on the actual Valve store, when you go there through Steam, which I did, it has a bunch of language about everything in your Steam library now playable on this device. And I went, well, okay, but if this is SteamOS, that isn't true. At least not that I know of. That I can't just take, I don't know,
their Windows version,
a Windows copy of a game, right, and play that on Linux unless there's some in between layer that I'm not aware of. So all of this would be stuff that
third-party stuff should be runnable as well. Like, I don't think they've asked every developer to make an adaptive version of their game for SteamOS. I think they probably designed SteamOS to handle all this stuff.
I mean, I can tell you the first 4 games on the front of their promo image is Control, Doom Eternal, Hades, and I think that other one's that Ghost Runner.
Fallen Order, maybe?
I think it's that Ghost Runner game.
Oh, Ghost Runner, yeah.
It's cut off, so it's hard to see it. That makes me think that those games probably all have SteamOS versions on Steam already. And that's why they would show those. But they're claiming like your whole library is going to go awesome. So I don't know why they can claim that yet. I have real curiosity about that, and I need to know more. Screen-wise, you're looking at a 7-inch 1280 by 800 pixels LCD screen. That's basically puts it on par with the new Nintendo Switch's larger screen, except the Switch is using OLED, which is a nicer quality screen. So you're not getting the best quality screen here, but it's a nice one. Gyro sensor, so that's some features that some games will use, I guess. Let's see, what else did they write here? That's kind of it. You can pre-order starting tomorrow, July 16th, and the price point starts at $399 for the low end, then goes to, oh crap, can't find the other two prices.
Hold on, I got it up. The middle one is $529, and the high end is $649.
That's right. So pretty big jump.
$819 Canadian.
Yeah, those are pretty big jumps, given that the only real difference is hard drive on all 3.
Yeah, they throw in some other boondoggles along with it. Although the high end does say you get premium anti-glare etched glass.
Oh,
I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make.
Yeah,
but
the NVMe storage there's the clock speed on the storage does vary with the models as well.
Let's see if there's.
I mean, they're only writing fastest storage on their marketing page, but I was looking somewhere else. I don't remember where they actually it clocks in at a faster speed.
But that's the two. That's two of those models. The low end one won't do the NVMe or it.
Yeah, that's true. It's an eMMC internal storage.
Yeah, still a decent SSD, but I didn't notice these 2 triggers on the back. That's news to me.
There's like 4 triggers total, right?
Yeah, there's shoulder triggers like normal, and then there's 2 these little undercarriage ones. Those are interesting. The Steam page has actually got a big 3D render all floating up there, and tempting people to see what the hell's going on. And the details there actually Oh, they do lay out the prices. Here we go. Oh, and one of the demos I saw, they were running Jedi Red-Headed Fallen Order game. What's that called? Yeah, it's Fallen Order, right?
Redhead Order.
Redhead Order was on, and they're showing it now on the screen. But the demo I saw showed that game running at full specs, no problem, which is fairly impressive, given that game requires some pretty beefy performance to run at full specs, full frame rate, full everything. So I think it seems like it's got what it takes guts-wise.
A lot of it probably has to do with the motherboard architecture. And too. Like it's probably designed for like speed and responsiveness.
Now, my big question, and they didn't say this specifically, but let's see. They say that your Steam library is already on your deck. Again, John will hear dick. It just says powered on, log in, and your games and friends are going to be there. That makes me think that, and they don't detail what the frick they mean there, but that tells me it's possible this game will also do the thing I want, which is let me stream it in the house from my PC. So let me not have to worry about what's on the hard drive and just freaking play.
Oh, it does do that, and I'm actually surprised there isn't an option for no hard drive. That's an even cheaper option that's stream only.
So this is on there then. Okay, I didn't.
Well, that might be on there. Yeah.
But here's the quote you're interested in, Scott. So this is interesting. It says a new Steam operating system. On Steam Deck, your games run on a different operating system than the one on your desktop PC. It's a new version of SteamOS built with Steam Deck in mind and optimized for handheld gaming experience. It comes with Proton, a compatibility layer that makes it possible to run your games without any porting work needed from developers. So that's why it can be your entire.
Okay.
I was gonna say catalog. I saw marketing with Baldur's Gate 3 on it, and that's in beta. There's no way they're like, well, let's divert our beta to make a Steam version of our game.
Unless they're doing that from the get-go, I can't imagine that either. But that's interesting. So essentially, it's an emulation layer, is what that works out to be. It's a little like, Macs can run. Intel apps now on those M1 chips, but it does it through this Rosetta 2 stuff. It's like that, but I would hope more optimized for gaming experiences because, you don't want your CPU doing double the work, and sometimes emulation layers mean double the work. All right, here's all your differences. 64 gig eMMC internal storage, like Bo said, and a carrying case. All right, you get the faster storage and the more storage with the 529, plus the carrying case, plus exclusive Steam community profile bundle. So a bunch of digital bullshit. $649, you get the larger 512 gig, and that one is the faster storage, premium anti-glare etched glass, like John mentioned, the carrying case, the Steam community profile, and then exclusive virtual keyboard theme. So those last two things are whatever, man. Who cares about themes?
Yeah.
Like, not that big a deal. So
you get a carrying case if you buy that. But to me, this, if I look at this, I feel like I'm in for disappointment or FOMO if I buy the two lower models. If I'm buying this, it's for the big guy.
Yeah, I do that too with a lot of stuff. I think I could get away with this middle one though. I just think that's probably my speed because the extra stuff coming with this is not interesting to me at all, other than storage.
It's strictly based on the storage. I mean, if it's worth the extra $100 to you or not, like I'm just saying, I'm struggling with it's the part I hate about the Xbox Series S the most is 512 is small.
Yeah, it's small. I mean, that used to be huge. Now it's not so big anymore. You're right. 512 is not huge. I think I could get away with it, but yeah, 649. It's just a big jump for mostly hard drive space.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Well, the hard
especially
drive
when
is faster.
In general those are coming down in cost.
So if you go to the tech specs, the storage speed is faster as well.
Well, yeah,
it's not just more space; it's also a better, speedier SSD equipment.
It's not faster than the previous model though. The 512.
It is. If you go to the tech specs, it's high. It's 256 gigabytes NVMe for mid.
Yeah,
and it's 512 high speed NVMe SSD.
What's the
difference? What you're getting is you're not just getting more space; you are getting a better piece of hardware.
I don't think those are different. I think NVMe.
They have clock speeds.
Sure, but
I've when you're shopping for computers and stuff, and you're shopping for the NVMe's, like they have clock speed, so you pay more for clock speed even for the same amount of storage.
How weird. All right, so they've got a bunch of You have to dig into that more. That seems interesting because that does matter to me. Disk access is a big deal, so that could help push me toward.
They didn't make it very clear. They should make that clear on their general marketing page.
Yeah, they don't at all.
Because you're looking at it going like, I don't want to. What am I spending the extra money for? And it's like,
yeah.
Again, this is the premium model. It's the default model made to look like a premium model. I don't know why they do this, but the other two are seem like gimped versions of the product. That's just how it looks to me.
Yeah.
I had this argument about internet yesterday with a friend because people ask me what internet I should get, and I'm always, you should get the best option. If you have gigabit, you should buy that.
Yeah, you should always get
like,
the fastest internet.
but it's like an extra $30 a month, and I'm like, you're shopping between 70 megabits per second versus 1,000 megabits per second.
Yeah,
just get the high option.
Right.
Suck it up. No, I want to save money. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
You asked me my opinion, and then you're telling me you want something different. So I look at this sort of the same way. I'm like, the Premier. If you want to have spent any amount of money like that and feel good about it, this product seems like the one you should be buying. Not to say if you don't have the money, you shouldn't get the less affordable option, but I mean, $800 for a console is not unreasonable for a machine that you can use as a computer. It seems like in other applications. Like this is Steam's always their difficulty is they have actually really good products that they're very difficult to grok for some reason in the way they market it. Because I guess they try to market it to PC people, so PC people get it. Yeah. Everyone else, it's rough.
I mean, I guess for me, where I have a problem with this is, when we talked about it when it was in the rumor phase, I kind of said like it'd have to be cheap, and I expect it to probably be something where you're just doing the streaming to device type of thing, and then maybe the hardware is not that expensive. That's something I could get behind. I'm not in the market for a PC. If I had $700, $800 to throw at something like this, I would be buying a PS4. I wouldn't be investing in a handheld version of the thing that I spent way more money on. Yeah. So I just it's very highly priced for what it is, because I kind of see it as a bit of a novelty. Now, if you're a person who wants to get into PC gaming and maybe hasn't taken the plunge, this is a bit of a reasonably priced way to do that, I guess. But I almost think you could still build a better computer than what the cost is for this. And it certainly would have more functionality. I just don't know if the demand for a handheld PC or a handheld Steam thing is going to be worth it. It's very cool, but you give me $700 and I can come up with plenty of things that I would rather put that towards than this, unfortunately.
Somebody at the...
Whereas a piece of hardware for, say, $100 to $200 that you just have to Steam link to might not be as interesting, but would be in the realm of possibility.
Sure. Well, keep in mind, too, anyone who gets this, I'm not saying this is a reason to get it, but one of the benefits of having it would be this would easily become a Game Pass streaming device as well, with built-in controllers and everything.
Oh yeah, you can install Windows in it. You can put your Game Pass on it.
Yeah, or if you don't have them locally, I'm saying like xCloud would work just out of the box, like you just run.
I mean, it's a handheld personal computer. I mean, they're not marketing that way, but that sounds essentially like what it is. So you have all the delightfulness of a Switch handheld, which is awesome. Like, it seems like hey, Switch is doing really well. Why don't we just make a PC version, a Switch version of a PC? Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about buying a Switch because of Metroid Prime. Now I'm thinking, why would I do that? I should get a Steam Deck.
Yeah. Steam Deck.
I'm kind of tempted by the Steam Deck because then I can have it on the go.
Yeah.
I can take it to my TV in the other room and plug it right in and do console gaming. If for a game that I don't have on my... Hades isn't on Xbox yet, so if I wanted a console Hades experience, I can just do it.
Right.
It has Windows on it, so I can, I don't know, watch streaming services with it. Like, I can do anything on a TV. I don't know. Like, I think John's assessment's right. It's really cool. I feel like there's still a little bit more that I need to like sell me on it at this point. But
I think for me, the big selling point is I love the portability, but I just like that the ecosystem that I'm already hugely invested in is just there for me. I just have it.
I mean, you buy it and you have a library.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cool thing. It's not like, I said I'd buy a PS4. That's still true.
5.
But a PS5, yeah. Sorry, I already got 2 PS4s. Jeez.
Don't buy another one, John. Don't get another one.
I'd buy a PS5 and then I'd have to buy games and I'd have to buy additional controllers and all of that. And at the end of the day, the cost on that is actually going to be quite comparable. Whereas if I were to buy a Steam Deck, it's like, okay, well, I paid for the hardware. I have the hardware and I have the library already. I don't have to all of a sudden buy a bunch of games for it. I have games for it.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
So I think there's actually a lot to that. And I think there's actually something very nice about that. I'm still going to say they aren't doing it yet, but I'm going to climb up, die on this hill. I think they should find a way to do a less expensive option that just streams to the device. Because I'm telling you, the amount of times that the kids in this house come up to me and go, I want to play this game. And I go, well, it's only on PC. Well, let's get it from my computer. Your computer can't run it. It happens all the time. And if I could give them a handheld device that could play games from Steam, I would own 3 of these devices in the house. But I can't afford 3 $700 of these.
This will do it, but it will tie up your machine.
Yeah.
Like
but
Steam does have the streaming. I'm sure you're going to be able to, but the stream from
But I'm saying I need to spend less money. Like, I get that it'll do it, but I'm not going to spend $500 to do it.
And you'll be streaming it from your own system. Although GeForce Now will be installed.
That's what I was going to say. GeForce Now would be easy to put on here.
Put Windows,
2 clicks, you're done. Whether it's the Windows version or not, it doesn't matter. You just put it on there. The other thing to have on that I was just thinking of is technically you could run, if you had Windows installed, you just go and you could install Epic and play all your Epic games on there if you want to.
Yeah.
Like, this thing is really just another computer. Bo's right. I mean, all these devices are in. You boil them down, they're computers of a sort, but this is.
But they're a lot of them are guarded.
Yeah, they're locked in. They're locked out. This thing is not that. This is more like, hey, here's your unified interface and stuff like that. The other thing I really need out of a device like this is the controller itself, like the actual sticks and stuff, need to be kind of heavy duty. I don't like a controller either separate or with a screen attached to it where I feel like I'm going to wreck those sticks. And I feel that way with the Switch. I just feel like I'm going to wreck them. So I kind of tend to prefer not to play games on the Switch that are super twitchy, because if I do, I feel like I'm just going to wreck those sticks. And once you do that, you're screwed. So
the marketing says that they're best in class thumbsticks.
Yeah, and the IGN guys
Weird,
said
it didn't say they're okay.
Yeah, they're all right.
The Xbox should be saying that on their marketing.
The IGN guys were saying that they thought the sticks were really strong. They liked that a lot. They thought the buttons were really good, and they liked the D-pad okay. They said they wish it was more clicky, but everyone, I don't know if I've ever heard of a D-pad that the whole world likes universally. It kind of just sort of depends. PS4's D-pad was pretty strong. I like the new Series X D-pads just fine. Whatever, I can make it work, but we'll see what happens. Tomorrow they go on pre-order, and that means you can reserve them. Who knows how quick that'll run out, because they're held to the same chip shortages everybody else is right now. So my guess is they'll sell out pretty much immediately because stock's going to be limited, and if you want to be the first in line, you might get one by December.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like is we already talked about it, but it was the placement of everything up at the top. Seems not good.
Well, again, I've had the exact same feeling, but the IGN article specifically addresses that and said we were worried about that and we ended up liking it. So I guess it probably depends on your hands, and certainly IGN's not final word on anything, but I'm watching this lady play and I think it'd be all right because I hold a lot of this palm up here. Like, it looks like it'd do okay. But you can also plug in any peripherals you prefer. You can plug in or just Bluetooth in a controller you love and use that. Like, all the PC options are there. There's a picture of a bunch of people playing fight sticks, so they're playing fighting games on there. I don't know. It seems like they're trying to not be locked down, and for that, I think I like that. So we'll see. I just don't want it to feel junky. Like, the Steam controllers felt like plastic garbage to me. I'm not saying these should be like that. This is a different time, different manufacturing. It's an expensive device. I hope it feels sturdy and solid statey, you know? Because if they don't get that right, then it's going to, I don't know. I need it to feel sturdy for that to work for me. Okay. Oh, and they got these little mouse pad things on it that they don't go into tons of detail about, but it looks like you can do a lot of sort of navigational stuff. With both sides, there's like a little pad.
Yep.
Yeah.
You also turn on gyroscope functionality as well.
Oh, right.
For any say one thing about this too, though. This device, like honestly, would make in-person LAN so easy. Like I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of hauling computers over all to one house to have a crazy game night, and the idea that you could just pack up your flat screen monitor, keyboard, mouse, and this little guy, and just pack it in a backpack. Like, I know you can already do that with laptops, but laptops are expensive. Not everyone gets those. But I don't know if this was ever to take off as a popular thing, it would make like LAN parties like really convenient to put together, and that kind of excites me because I haven't done that in a long time. And I'm watching this a little clip here of this guy and the marketing using his PC, and there's so few items and taking up so little real estate that I'm like, the whole Heroes of the Storm team could get together in one house and play together, and it seems so easy and within reach. I don't know. I like it.
Oh, this is interesting. Hold on. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought they were saying this. The controllers popped off. It's not. It says, unlike the Switch, the Steam Deck swaps removable controllers for some additional input methods. So there's a pair of Steam controller-style trackpads on either side of the display, in addition to the thumbsticks, and 4 extra buttons on the back of the device that serve as paddle-esque additional inputs. Also offers Bluetooth audio, so you can connect any pair of wireless earbuds or earphones to the thing, which the Switch has always lacked, and it's super annoying. You can only use a plugged-in pair of headphones on the Switch, and it sucks. Sucks. That device should be Bluetooth ready for some headphones. It's so dumb that it isn't. Anyway. It seems interesting, but yes, you cannot undock those controllers. That is confirmed. All right. Let's move on. That's exciting stuff, though. It's kind of a big deal.
Just FYI, too, you can reserve it for $5.70.
Yeah, they make you reserve it with money.
Yeah, so I'm, it's not expensive. I may reserve one.
I'm totally going to do it.
I don't think I may not get a Switch.
No, I may not even get this. I may cancel this, but the nice thing is all you've done is reserved a little money they'll earn interest on in the next 4 months.
Yeah. It's the nice part of it.
Yeah, well done, everybody.
It's exciting. This is a really cool looking device.
It's neat.
I'm very interested in it.
Yeah, it's neat. It seems like there's a big interview with Gabe Newell floating around out there. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I want to. I always think that guy's got interesting things to say, and this is clearly something they've been working on for a while and hinting at for a while.
Play Heroes of the Storm on that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, you could.
You could.
But would you?
I mean, you could.
Maybe for fun.
You could, but would you?
I mean,
that's the question. I'm not doubting you could.
Here, okay, let's put it this way. The game doesn't support controllers, so that's kind of a non-starter. So you'd have to use a mouse and keyboard, which
it has touchpad for mouse input.
Oh, I don't know how that would work, dude. That sounds bad.
Yeah. So really what? Bad. You're just gonna plug a keyboard into it then?
No.
You're gonna hold the device in your left hand.
Use the touchpads.
Yeah, but what about
there's a guy playing Factorio and they're playing Baldur's Gate. Those are mouse and keyboard games.
Yeah, but what about
is it gonna be good? I don't know, but it's
no. The answer is no. It's not, and you're not gonna play Heroes of the Storm on this device.
Yeah.
Again, the debate isn't. Can you? I understand there's a million ways you can. I've seen people play games with Guitar Hero controllers that shouldn't be. But that doesn't mean you should, and that doesn't mean you're going to.
I hate to admit it. They would not. It would be cool as like, look what I ran, but I don't want to play it that way. Unless it had, native controller support, then fine. Let's go. That sounds fun.
Will somebody take this somewhere and prop it up with a little kickstand and plug their mouse and keyboard into it and hover over it and play a MOBA? Yes, 100% someone will do that. Yeah. And they will be the biggest nerd at the ball. Like, there is just, it's not.
I can see myself doing that. I don't know. Maybe.
You'll do it once, though, right?
I'm the biggest nerd at the ball, I guess. Is the lesson.
Well, we're all nerds, and we all go to the same
I'm
ball.
just kind of excited for the product. I think it's an exciting product. Switch always seems very cool, but the shitty thing about Switch is it's just Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is, a huge thing, but you're right.
It's fine, but it's just like, it's not it'd be more appealing if it played everything.
They're like the only company can get away with that. Like, they're the only company I know of that can be, their whole thing is that they're Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, nobody else has that anymore. Like, Sony is Sony, but Sony's got to be really saturated with third parties. So does Microsoft. Like, you can't do this. When you're that closed in the way Nintendo is, you have to be Nintendo or it doesn't work. So
yeah, they can't just make the console. They have to make all the games too.
Yeah, and they have to be the best games, and they can never be bad, for the most part. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. More on that as it approaches. In similar hardware news or related hardware news, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, says a Xbox controller refresh is probable. Now, that seems like a weird thing to say, given that, of course, it's probable at some point there'd be a refresh, but one would think maybe he means soonish.
Within the current generation.
Yeah.
They were specifically, a survey went out about asking Xbox customers what they liked about the DualSense controller from PlayStation that they would like to see on an Xbox controller.
Right.
I just took it as news because I think the new Xbox controller is shite.
Really? I love my controller.
I like this, and I'm like, I wanted something more like this, and it's clicky. I don't like the D-pad. I find the sensitivity on the sticks not to my liking. Maybe it's just a preference thing.
This must be. I'm shocked by this.
They're smaller and seems a little more cramped, but I don't know. I just don't I don't like it. Like
I bought a second one so I could use it for my PC.
So did I.
It's I have one that I use for my PC and one that I use for my Xbox, but it is personal preference. And despite that, I do think they should do a relaunch, because as somebody who got to finally play a PS5 and play with the PS5 controller, that haptic feedback thing is really cool, and I wouldn't mind if they took a look at it. That feels really, really good.
Yeah. They're probably not complaints. They're probably more in line with what you're talking.
Yeah. Well, their quote, here's his quote. We're definitely thinking about different kinds of devices that we can bring more gamers to different places. There's probably some work they'll need to do on the controller, Spencer told the Gamecast crew, which was transcribed somewhere. Anyway, he says, quote, I think Sony has done a really nice job with their controller. We kind of took a look at some of that and think, are there things that we should go and do, unquote. So I really like this side of Microsoft where these days where they're not trying to hide anything. They're just like, yeah, I think Sony did pretty cool stuff there. We should probably do some of that. Like, I don't know why I like that. I just like that openness.
Yeah, it seems really unlikely in an industry, a lot of industries like that are very protective or very not open and competitive, to just be like, yeah, cool, we like all this stuff. Let's just chill and jam, and let's help each other improve and make awesome experiences and get games to as many people. Like, I hope that stays. That seems to me like the kind of thing that won't happen after Phil Spencer moves on, or you get worried. Like, it's great that he's there. It seems like he's shepherding this era, and you almost worry that that'll be over once he's,
Well, it seems to jive pretty well with Satya Nadella, who's kind of, you could look at as the chief, reason that Microsoft has turned a lot of things around, and they're focused on Azure and backend and all that, and they put them in their most profitable place they've ever been in. But part of it is also, it's just a juxtaposition, because Sony's position as previous generation leader is keep it locked down, don't share our secrets. It's the opposite, and it's like what Microsoft was before that.
Behavior for any corp, Hollywood's like that too, right?
Right. So you have to ask the question.
Disney was like, let's give our tech to everybody. We want all the studios to be able to make wonderful, delightful movies like Marvel. Like, they're not going to share that shit without you paying them.
Right.
Well, I think an unintended side effect of this too, which would be really, really nice, is, a lot of times when somebody does something that's perceived as gimmicky, whether it turns out to be good or not, like Sony did with the haptic controllers, it turns out like first party games for the most part really use it well and effectively, and nobody else does anything with it, because they're not going to put a team on, okay, for the PS5 version, we need to make sure you guys go in and program all the haptics just for the PS5 version. You just aren't going to allocate resources that way. But if it's something that both controllers can support and do, maybe you see a bigger adoption rate of everybody saying, hey, yeah, we think this is a cool thing. We're going to put it in our game because it's going to now benefit PS5 Xbox, and PC. Let's go ahead and move forward with it, which is what I want to see. The problem is when only one side's doing it, nobody jumps on the bandwagon because it's just not cost effective.
Right. It's a little like Rumble back in the day. You know, the original days of what the Wavebird was first or whatever. You would
the
only
Rumble Pack, the N64 Rumble Pack.
Oh, I forgot about that thing. So yeah, that's a very exclusive, way to develop it. But when it became more of a modern mainstream thing, then everybody supported Rumble, including third-party crap you buy for your PC from Chinese, cheapo brands. Like, it's all over the place. Some of this could be similar to that. But we also always forget that Sony does this with every generation. They have a controller gimmick, and it either flops or it succeeds. And in the case of the PlayStation 3, it was 6-axis. That flopped. It was garbage.
That one was so bad.
It was garbage.
Oh, it made me sad every time it popped up and it was like, you want to move your controller?
Yeah, it was garbage. It was terrible. It was an awful thing. It didn't work. The next time around, it was their big touchpad thing at the top. It's okay. It just acted as another button at the end of the day. Like, people used it for maps. Like, oh, I'm in Assassin's Creed. Hit the big giant button for the map. It was like that. Nobody really blew anyone's minds with it. And because, like you said, it's not universal across all potential console/PC use cases, it's going to have a limited development. This thing, this time, seems like it's got more traction because there's actual, benefits to the gameplay. It's actually a really cool, neat new thing. I hope this is the one that not only takes off, but others emulate. And it sounds like Microsoft might be interested in emulating it. And then we see more widespread adoption of it, because then these things become standard in the future, which means they're less expensive, which means they're everywhere, which means it's just part of our gaming texture now, And I'd be fine with that. But anyway, more as we know it. Finally, Netflix. Netflix. You're familiar with Netflix. You guys, all about Netflix. You ever use them before?
I have chilled to a program or two in my time.
You've chilled?
Yeah.
You've Netflixed and chilled? Bo, how about you? You've,
I haven't chilled in a decade.
Take from that whatever you will, listener. But no, Netflix, bitter ubiquitous. Everybody has it. It's a thing. Ironically, using Microsoft's backend, which is Azure, which is the backend for xCloud and all the gaming stuff. It looks like, this is confirmed now, they're getting into video games.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah. Here's what I think it'll be. And this is pure speculation because we don't know anything else at this stage. Of course, it will be streaming. So think Stadia, think xCloud, think Luna. Okay, that's the area we're talking about here. This will be something that you'll be able to play anywhere you're at on any device that streams Netflix. If it can stream Netflix, you can play it there. And my belief is it won't be homegrown games. It will be stuff you already know about. It'll be Destiny. It'll be Fortnite. It'll be games you know and already play. Maybe some exclusives. But the bottom line will be they are going to build a Stadia-like service that will be part of their existing subscription program, possibly for more money per month if you want the game part of it. But they're going to build an xCloud/Stadia competitor. And I think in the end of the day, they might be the only real competition to xCloud. I already think Stadia is going to die and go away because I don't think Google's got the appetite for
streaming is Netflix's whole business. It's an expertise.
Yeah, plus it's their whole thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
They may not have. I mean, there's questions about some of the latency technologies and other stuff, but again, they're using Azure. They're leveraging a technology that is already doing this for xCloud, and frankly, Sony uses Azure for all their backend for PlayStation Now. So. Who is it that uses? Netflix already uses Amazon for their back-end stuff. One would assume that they could still do that for this part of it, or they could make this deal with Azure and move forward. I don't know. But either way, of course they're doing this. Of course they're doing this. Why wouldn't they do this? Somebody said in an earnings call at Netflix, wish I had their name, our biggest competitor isn't Amazon Prime Video. It isn't Hulu. It's not Disney Plus. It's not HBO Max. It's none of those. In fact, it's none of those combined. It's Fortnite is our biggest competitor. Literally, that's the eyeball time we're trying to get. And not just from that age demographic, but the idea is that games are their biggest competition. So get into games. Suddenly you're part of the conversation and you're making lots of money on games. So Anyway,
I mean, if that's the way it worked, that's something I would consider.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, throw a couple extra bucks on your Netflix subscription and just play some games that you'll have access to. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything extra. Just here you go. You can play it now. Like, yeah. Part of the reason I had no interest in Stadia was, okay, so I need to take a risk and buy a version of a game for a untested, unknown, like we don't know if it's going to stick around system.
Yeah, $59
no,
either way.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But if you say, it's kind of like what we were talking about with the Steam Deck. If you're going to just say like, hey, you have a library for a thing you're already paying for, like, easy. Okay, sure. I'll try it out. And if it's garbage, I'll change my subscription back. And if it's great, I'll keep it and I'll continue to spend the money. Or more realistically, I'll add the money to my subscription, hate it, forget about it for about a half a year, go, why is my bill so high? And then cancel it. Yeah. But it will get canceled eventually. Like, it's just, you're not asking people to do a lot to try it. And I think when you don't ask people to do much, more people are going to test the waters with it.
Right.
Yeah. Also, it's sort of, I guess, it's curious timing given that Game Pass has become a thing and been wildly successful. Like,
yeah.
I'm fairly certain without Game Pass, maybe Netflix doesn't take this chance. Like, because as much as this is like Stadia, it's a hybrid of the Stadia thing and the Game Pass thing.
Right.
And the game, like Game Pass is Netflix of gaming. That's how I describe it to people who ask about it. I'm just like, it's Netflix, but video games.
Yeah. Which I think is a fair way of putting it. And it must drive them nuts that they're the Netflix of Netflix and they don't have a gaming of Netflix. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like, oh yeah, let's get on that. The thing that they'll probably be successful, like in the way John described, but I'm not in any rush or excited at all about this news. The fact is, Phil Spencer's done a lot of work building brand trust in gaming and offering good games. I predict everything's going to be a variation of Bejeweled and what 80-year-olds would appreciate playing who aren't into gaming. Like, I'm not looking to have the latest. I mean, maybe they'll do it, but I'm skeptical. I remain skeptical about this. Also, any games launched exclusively for Netflix streaming will be canceled after the first patch because Netflix, not a great track record for any content creation. So I hope they don't get into actually making any games.
Yeah, and I did read plenty of articles that suggested they would be publishing video games. Let me be clear. My reaction is 100% on what Scott proposed with like, hey, it's just going to be another platform that you already have that you can play other games out there, assuming there isn't too much overlap with what Game Pass is offering, because I'm not going to switch. I'm going to keep Game Pass for sure. Like, I'd be into that. If it's Netflix is like, hey guys, here comes Netflix's greatest video game we've ever made. It's like, oh, I don't want to know what Netflix thinks it can make as a video game.
It's Walking Dead video game.
Well, I hope it's not Walking Dead. It should be like, they don't own that. What would it be? Like,
it'll be Lilyhammer, the video game.
Is that a Netflix original? I don't know.
Yeah, it was one of the first. What was the first one? House of Cards. Yeah.
They make a House of Cards game and they just take out what's his name's likeness because everyone's mad at him.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be. To me, this is not worth it unless they do the thing I say they should do. If they don't do that, I'll be shocked. If this isn't an attempt to try to get people, a whole section of games up there that say the names Destiny 2 and say the names Fortnite and say the names whatever, if those aren't up there, this is a waste of time. They shouldn't even bother.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would bet Fortnite's not going to be on there.
Well, it might. I mean,
no, I don't see Epic going, yeah, you guys can have Fortnite.
I mean, why not? Why would they care? They just
because
want
they
the
want
money.
you to. They want you on the Epic Games launcher. That's
yeah,
what
but
they want. They want you looking at
situation.
Netflix.
Yeah, but they don't want you. But that doesn't work because that would mean they don't want you looking at any other storefront, and they're on everything.
They would be happy to be on there so long as Netflix doesn't ask for a cut of any of the in-game purchases. That's the
I guess that's true.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
But I don't know. I think at this point where they have their own storefront, they want you launching from their stuff. Like, I think they probably don't even want you playing on console, but they probably are like, oh, we get too much money from that.
Well, you'd have
but if there was a way for them to put the Epic's game launcher on console, they would do that.
They probably would, but you go, I mean, I can play Fortnite on Stadia. Like, they're not gonna. I mean, I don't think their goal. they're not going to pass up something like this. Netflix has more home installed, installed home base than anything right now. Like, it's unbelievable how much coverage they have. So if they could pull that off, everyone's going to be in line for it.
That's true. That's true.
It's
That's not much more money coming into Epic.
It's a massive install base, is all I'm saying. And if it's simple, like you were saying, like if it's just, hey, even if it's not, they may even come out and say, look, at our top tier, that means you get in at the 720 rate. If you want 4K, you pay an extra $5 a month or whatever. Like whatever their tiers are. And they can differentiate themselves by saying, look, we have a library of games that you're just going to do Game Pass style, not Stadia style. I just don't know who wouldn't try it. And you sync any controller you got to it, like, done deal. Yes, David Letterman, the interviews game. The chat room has gone nuts with like BoJack Horseman, The Reckoning.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Queen's Gambit FPS. It's because it's so obvious what the game would be, and then they just took it to a different place. I really like it.
It should be a chess game, but no, it's a shooter.
It's a shooter.
Yeah.
And also you'd have a stand-up simulator. It's like Rock Band, but it's for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
You be the stand-up comedy, but as you tell the jokes, you have to press the right buttons.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
How about... they did that. That was an actual game that exists.
Really? Oh, is it?
Or exists. Yeah, it's a community. It's one of those like everyone gets in a lobby and people go up and do their stand-up routine. I don't know what it's called, chat. If you know, share it. But yeah,
ringing a bell now.
There's 100% a actual like stand-up
like
comedy,
a rock band comedy,
social experience thing. Yeah, they're just saying about
Jessica
comedy
Jones
night.
Unleashed.
Ziggurat found
comedy
it.
Night.
They had it ready. Comedy
Ziggurat
night.
knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I like how The Witcher and Castlevania were thrown out, which are also ironically Netflix original programming as well.
Yeah, comedy night's only $5.
Get in there, Bo. You got it. Finally. Yeah. Let your stand up fly, dude.
The number one review in the past 30 days. I got doxed playing. It's okay.
Wow. That's fantastic. All right. Well done, everybody. We've covered it all, and we can't wait to get your feedback. coreshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you think about these new things, because boy, was it popping this week. Okay, time for these. The games we played this week. I'm going to surprise everybody with my number one pick of the week, which I did not expect. It was from a free Epic giveaway game some weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, I guess. Didn't think anything of it. I just go in there every week and see what's free and then get it. So it's just there. I have it. I rarely play it. Depends, like what's going on. I have been enjoying Old World, of course, so I've been playing it over there. But those free games, I just make sure I get them. Sometimes they're duplicate stuff I already have on Steam, but I still get it.
Just reminded me. I have to go pick up the current free game because I've been wanting it for a long time and I've never bought it.
Totally should. Yeah. I have a little reminder that says go do it every week, and I go in there and I just make sure I get it. And one of those days was a game called Ironcast. I don't know if you guys remember this. It's not a get fit quick on weightlifting podcast. It's an actual video game called Ironcast. And how do I describe it? It's a normally fully, premium game that they just happen to give away, made by a small team, that is a steampunk mech game. Okay? So big.
Okay.
I'd have John's ear for a second on this.
Yes.
So it's like imagine the era of steampunk. What would we call that? 1880s Britain or something. I don't even know when this would be set, but it's all very much like that time era. And everybody rides
Revolution.
Right. And there's big giant mechs that are steam driven and have all kinds of weapons, and you go on these missions, and you're this very prim and proper lady who's definitely from the era, but you're like an assassin with this mech. And,
oh Lord, look, it's a mech.
And the lady sends you on these mech fights is like, this old lady who runs the whatever secret group that you work for, and it's called Ironcast. And the game itself is a little bit weird. At first, I was really put off because I went, is this like a puzzle game? Like, were we talking like Bejeweled here? Because when I've seen screens, mech over here, and in the middle, a grid of what looks like gems to match.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I just pulled up footage of it, and
Yeah.
what was in my head as you were starting this and what I saw are very different things.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for seeing that and going, oh, because it did that to me. It exactly did that to me. But I decided, you know what? I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to check this thing out and see what's up. So I did, and I really like it. I like it a lot. And here's what I like about it. The game is a little bit deceptive in terms of what it actually is. That mechanic of fighting. You know, you remember Puzzle Quest and how much fun that was? It was like RPG elements. It was like the first time that sort of thing had ever been done. It's a little like that, except you're not matching three. You're trying to make contiguous lines of stuff and make combos that way. So it's one of those puzzle games where you start up here and work and get as many in a combo as possible, and then that clears those all out, and then the next ones fall. The difference here is you have 3 turns to do whatever you're going to do with the puzzle in the middle. And once you've done 3 of those, you're done. Now you can use whatever points you got for doing that. So you might have some combat points built up, which is like an energy bar. You might have freezing points built up, which will help with you heat with your heat situation, and also does some cold damage. Different kinds of damage types or whatever. There's also a healing thing, so you can repair parts, that sort of stuff. Once you've done those 3 things, which are strategic and you're trying to be smart about your usage, then you say, all right, I'm going to fire my main cannon, and that's going to take this much power that I've accumulated through the puzzle mechanic. I'm now going to fire off that cannon. It fires it off and does a bunch of loud damage to the other mech. You might be able to do a defensive move, like moving forward, put you in kind of a dodge mode, so they have a higher chance of missing you if you're moving. So you might do that.
This game looks like Solitarica, but with a matching,
a little bit,
gym matching.
A little bit, yeah. I'm glad you said that, because it's like Solitarica, what it does with cards, and Solitaire is really just a thin overlay of some pretty fun kind of RPG mechanics, and that's what this is. It's just a different mechanic on top. But at the end of the day, it's about, I mean, there's like random weapon and armor and like drops you need for your mech, and they're color coded, so rares and epics and all, Diablo style loot. And you before each mission, you can go equip your thing up like that, heal up, unlock perks, stuff like that. There's a little bit of a roguelike sort of element to it, because if you die, you take some knowledge back with you and go back and try again, sort of stuff. Completely took me by surprise how much fun this is. And the only thing I would say to anybody who maybe picked it up and just thought, well, I'll grab the free game and then I won't worry about it, go play the game. It's not, I promise you, it is not what you think it is by just looking at it. Your first look at it, you'll just go, oh, it's some kind of puzzle game, maybe pass. It's different than that. And I found myself going
over.
It's
like you read my mind.
Yeah, and I went over and over and over again. I couldn't stop playing this game. And I was shocked by it, because like I say, the actual gameplay of the puzzle part of it, your brain goes, oh, I've seen this a million times in mobile games, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. I can't tell, I'm not sure, but it feels kind of mobile-y or whatever. And then once you understand what's actually happening with the mechanic and what that gives you, like opportunity-wise, there's like strategy and tactics and these RPG elements and leveling up and getting loot when you beat dudes and going back out better prepared the next time. I really like it. And I'm not surprised it ended up being free, because they probably have a hard time selling this, if I was to guess. I'm guessing some people have the exact same impression I described, and they just go, well, I don't want to play a puzzle game. But dude, they're big old mechs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as flashy as a lot of games you might see.
No,
if I'm just looking at it strictly as how much interest would this generate?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It looks like a one of those games where you just like, oh, let me do one more run, let me do one more puzzle.
Yeah,
it looks
for
fun.
sure.
Has a lot of that stuff.
Like I say, I'm not telling anybody out there to go spend the $20 or whatever it is to find out. I'm just saying, if you got it on that free day, don't overlook it. It's actually good. And
this looks awesome.
Yeah,
I think it looks cool.
I hope there's a demo somewhere where people can actually play it and then decide for themselves. Because, yeah, Puzzle Fighter is another good example. Crimson Neon, sort of. But, the goals here, I don't know. They just, I like a game where they give you a simple interface and then crazy shit happens. Like, I like that it's not, how do I put this? like this could have been a game where, I don't know, it could have been an RTS or a turn-based strategy game, but there's a million of those. Like, what would you do to differentiate yourself? Well, I feel like that's what this is. It's like, well, here's how we're going to be different. And here's the aesthetic. And we're going to set it in a steampunk environment. And we're going to have these big barreling steam mech machines that didn't ever exist, but wouldn't it be cool if they did? And so it's got a cool tone and kind of, world building thing going on. And I don't know. I really like it. There's also a story going on. I hadn't mentioned that. So there's a bunch of dialogue to read.
There's numbers when you do damage. That's a big
Yeah, there's numbers, Bo. I thought of you as soon as I saw a button number pop up. I went, oh, Bo's going to love this. There's numbers.
I like damage numbers.
Anyway, I like it a lot and would recommend it highly. Again, that's Ironcast. Epic Store, but I think it's on Steam as well. I didn't go look, but I think so. All right. I also played a ton of Griftlands Brawl Mode, which is what you unlock when you've done the 3 campaigns. And Brawl Mode is basically a simplified version of the game where you're not traveling around the map and doing all the story beats. You instead you have an initial draft and you have some bonuses up front, and then you start basically doing a random campaign that says you want to go fight this guy, you want to go argue with this guy, you go do those things, you win or you lose, you level up. It's like playing a little bit more of a straight Slay the Spire version of that game. Really like it though, because you can just get in and go, and really adds to the lifespan. Oh, and there's a ton, Bo, you'll like this. When you get there, there's a ton of mutators. So you can just go do random ones or choose them by yourself, but there's hundreds of them.
Yeah, and I saw that panel. I haven't activated them yet, but...
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All kinds of weird challenges, helps unlock strange cards you can't get any other way, that kind of stuff. And
oh, really? Oh, interesting.
That game continues to be really good. And then I broke a bunch of ships. I played a lot of Shipbreaker. We know what that's about. I streamed a bunch of it too.
That game is your Zen space. So
it really is.
You didn't ignore it.
It really is. I love it so much. I played 2 perfect. So they have a class of ship called the Gecko class. It's a big, sometimes cargo, but a lot of times it's like it'd be a personnel transport ship. It's a big ship. It's the biggest in the game so far.
From the Homeworld universe?
No, but they kind of look like them. I still think they make everything kind of feel like Homeworld, but they're just not saying it. But that ship is cool, and they've got these new hazards in it, like the rads that you get off of a malfunctioned radiation thing. I forget what it's called, but it's basically a thing. If you're not really ginger with it, and you bump it at all, that thing just starts pumping radiation, and it's bad. Leaves a big cloud, takes forever to dissipate. So you just got to be really careful with it. And I was having so much fun, and I did 2 runs of this thing, did it on stream, and did 2 perfect Gecko teardowns. Take about an hour each, but man, that felt good. And you get so many of these like upgrade points when you do it right, when you get everything, and it's so satisfying. I love that game. Can't get enough of it. All right, John and Bo.
Shipbreaker.
I'm still amazed they haven't come to recruit you for some like secret government like satellite destruction property, like Bruce Willis in Armageddon. Like, he's the only one. He's the only one we can get to save us from the satellite garbage in space.
Maybe it is a recruitment program. Like maybe it's designed to attract specific types of people for analysts to vet for analyst work, and Scott's one of them.
Yeah. I don't like. Laura for real says Scott will literally play any shovelware to avoid playing Final Fantasy 14. That's not true at all.
These don't look like shovelware.
They're not shovelware. Like Griftlands is an incredible deck builder. I think Ironcast is an amazing.
When you're a fan of a game, sometimes everything seems like shit in comparison to your favorite.
Well, that seems like their problem, not mine. So
yeah, exactly.
All right.
I mean, I would have said that in my Heroes of the Storm days. There was lots of times people were playing games and all I wanted to play was Heroes.
Yeah, I get it. And there are times even now where I'll just get so focused on one thing. But I like a ton of stuff. Yeah. John, Final Fantasy 14, you're in. You're all in. You've never been more in. Look at you, you're in.
Yeah, Bo probably has some actual like content besides just gushing over it to say, so I'll leave most of it to him. But one thing I do want to say about that game, just to clarify, because as I've taken this journey, there was certainly something at the start of it that I wondered as I was playing through it, and now that I'm on the other side, I feel like I can speak to it, which is, sure, I'm enjoying it now while I'm engaged in the story and I'm all in and find that story to be amazing, but am I going to still be interested when I get to endgame? Like, does this game have an endgame? Is that endgame satisfying? is this game going to hold me once the story runs out? And so I'm pleasantly surprised to find that I am still just as hooked at the end of the story as I was during the story. So for anybody that's sitting there looking at the game going, well, okay, sure, it's a long RPG story, but is there any like meat to the MMO portion of it? Yes, there is, and it's very good. And it's funny because I've actually been doing things in it that are things I used to do in WoW and things that I have complained about being in WoW and being bad. I've been doing, like, if you said, John, what are you doing in Final Fantasy Endgame right now? I'm raiding, I'm doing dungeons, I'm doing dailies for rep, and, collecting old transmog and stuff like that. All of that stuff is stuff that's in WoW. All of it is being done better in Final Fantasy right now, just to be frank about it. Like, even the rep grinds, which I hate in WoW, is so much better with the way they handle it, and I'm having fun with it. And so I'm doing a bunch of things that are familiar but different and having a good time. And yes, as chat's pointing out, I'm also watching Bo perform every now and then. Sometimes I'm not, but he's just performing near me for an extremely long period of time. Went back and watched the VOD to see how long Bo tried to get my attention in the game for. It was substantial. But
the video I saw, what Bo was really into it when I saw it. Like I saw him just like, I don't know, who's the singer that was blind that played the piano? Not Ray Charles. Not Ray Charles, the other one.
Stevie Wonder.
Bo's back. So I see the keyboard interface, the UI, and I see all the stuff in his little photo in the corner, and you're railing, and you're just going like this. I'm like,
oh, well.
I just thought,
I mean,
wow.
I was enjoying playing. It's fun.
He's really found his place, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's all I really want to say on that. I'll let Bo talk the rest about it, but it's still really good. I'm still captivated in that game in a kind of crazy way, and it's not letting me go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Bo, tell us. We'll come back. I want to come back to your old world start in a second.
What about old world?
Well, do you want to talk about that first? Do you want to?
Okay. Well, I guess it makes more sense. This is the Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, this is the section. Yeah.
So I only streamed an hour of my barding, but so last time we talked, I was like, I don't think I'm going to play this game anymore. Blah 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 blah. The next time I played, off stream or whatever, I leveled up to 30. I got all my barding, or maybe I'd already done that last week. I don't remember. But anyways, last weekend I spent about 20 hours of game time in Final Fantasy XIV, and I didn't earn a single experience point. I was arranging so in Final Fantasy XIV, when you get the bard job, you can play instruments. On a 3-octave range on a keyboard that other players can hear. Mm-hmm. Now there's a 3-octave limitation, which sucks. A lot of songs can have 6 octaves or higher, and you can't play chords. You can only play one note at a time. So it's very limited. But at the same time, I was walking by and I could hear people playing fairly complex things, and I'm like, must be more to it than this. So I searched around, and lo and behold, no add-ons in this game, but there is a fan-made add-on to run MIDI files. And for those who don't know, MIDI file basically contains song information and striking sounds at different points in time. A lot of, it's the standard for music.
Sure.
So it'll play MIDI files through macro on your keyboard. So you have to set up all your keyboard keybinds to what it says, and then you run your MIDI files, and then you can stand somewhere and you can play the MIDI files. I play guitar, I don't play keyboard, so I'm not very good. And it'll do what's called an arpeggio or pregio. I don't know how you say it out loud. I just read it. An ARP, basically. So even though you can't play chords, it will simulate chords by playing a chord notes, multiple notes at once in quick succession. Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of input lag, and it's janky. However, it's quite fun to go to Gridania and hang out in the bar and play toss a coin to your Witcher. By the way, I agreed to a thing where I wouldn't play third-party songs. I'm totally playing third-party songs. If they want to cancel my account, fine. Go ahead, whatever.
Also, I just want to say before you go too far, Bo, thanks a lot, because I have had Toss a Coin to Your Witcher stuck in my head for days now. Since you tried to get my attention in the game, it's been stuck in my head again. So I appreciate
you're welcome.
It's 100% from you.
Yeah,
you're welcome. So that 20 hours was spent sort of figuring out the tech, and then I was building my repertoire. Now, because it's only a 3-octave range, most songs that are wonderful take place over more than 3 octaves. You know, probably 5 or 6 or whatever. So a lot of that time was spent in Reason, which is the DAW that I use, rearranging MIDI files so that they would sound like the song, but within a 3-octave range. And also, if it's a piano arrangement, like there are streamers who stream, or not streamers, but YouTubers who do arrangements of like Divinity Original Sin. So I'm like, and then they sell their sheet music, which you can convert into MIDI. And so I signed up for their Patreon. I spent money on getting MIDI files, but then they were piano arrangements, so they'd be over 5 or 6 octaves. So I'd have to take them into Reason and crunch them into 3-octave range, but also there's 10 fingers. There's a lot of different notes, and it doesn't play chords. So I've got to figure out how, 2 or 3 at most, depending on the song, to make it sound good in Final Fantasy. So I end up doing a lot of work making arrangements specifically to run in Final Fantasy 14 and sound okay. So that's about 10 hours. And then the following 10 hours, all I did, like 10 hours of gameplay, I would go from bar to bar, location to location, and just play. And people would hear, like, you're walking in Gridania and you hear, Epic Sax Guy, or you hear Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, or I had the Hades theme music. Yeah. It's part of my repertoire, and I have some Final Fantasy. And people stop and they look at you, and then they like clap, and And I got my first tip. Someone tossed a coin to the Hrothgar, and I got 500 gil for a performance at one point.
Nice.
And it's just been a fun experience to see people going about their business. They're questing, they're doing all their stuff, and I'm like, take a moment, listen to a nice song. And so I've literally been just going from bar to bar playing. And when I'm done a set, I'll be like, you've been a great audience. It's time for me to move on. And I'll like teleport to Limsa Limosa or whatever, and go to the prostitute district and play my music near all the prostitutes that are there. There's just an area that has just a bunch of scantily clad women dancing and doing push-ups and exercises. Yeah. I assume they're prostitutes.
We assume sex worker, sure.
Yeah, no judgment.
None at all.
It seems to be what this area is for. Sure. Maybe I'm wrong. And right. And I'm playing music, and I've realized that there are it is possible to do duos, like do whole bands. So this octave thing, like if you have a lot of different parts of an arrangement, you can multi-box. The software allows you can get 8 Final Fantasy accounts multi-box on your system and do a whole band. And there are people I've learned that actually do this and put on concerts in various parts in game. And congrats to them. I think I'm going to be a lone musician. I don't think I really want to be in a band, partially because I'm pretty much done with Final Fantasy 14. That may make some people sad, but I have a thing where if I realize a game is going to dominate so much of my life that I spent, 70% of my long weekend making media arrangements for Final Fantasy 14, I probably just need to be not playing this game. Because while it's a great amount of fun, there is a little bit of a regret hangover that comes with doing nothing but that for 20 or 30 hours. And certainly there's a temptation to build up a concert repertoire. And honestly, I have zero interest in questing further. Like, I asked John, I'm like, are there other cities? And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, oh, but I'll have to quest and level to get to them. Yeah. The game side of Final Fantasy 14, if I can just be a little more critical of the game, but not in a bad way, it's a great game. There was a time when the skills, like, I'm really like getting better at games and developing skill, and also like world exploration of these games. And there was a time where that's what World of Warcraft was for, I think, a lot of us, when we were learning to do dungeons better and raid better and participate in these things. Final Fantasy 14 is just more WoW. and I say just more WoW, that sounds derisive. You could also say it's more WoW, and that's amazing.
It's more WoW than WoW is right now. I would.
But for not you know what? Not even like one of the things is like Blizzard's this big company. They have a mobile game. How dare they? I'm like, what the hell is Square Enix? Like they have some of the most worst mobile games in the world. Like they're no better than Activision. It's nice to be there. No judgment. Play their game. But I'm not really interested in getting on the whole carousel again. The whole AAA modern MMO reputation grind carousel. And John's, I value John's opinion. And if he says it's better than in World of Warcraft, I believe him. Yeah. But I just don't want to do any of that. Yeah. I find I don't have a desire for that. So I'm at this point where I'm like, I like barding, but like I don't really want to play the game anymore.
You don't want to
not because it isn't good.
Do you want? I mean, how do you feel about spending $12 a month or whatever it is Canadian to be a bard? Is that worth it?
That's
Bo
fine.
Needs a bard-based MMO, and nobody has made one yet. Yeah. And you can get out there, people.
Yeah. That's fine. A lot of this is also in the context that I discovered Sea of Thieves shortly after starting Final Fantasy XIV, and Sea of Thieves is my game of the year. It has been the most fun that I've had in a video game in 2021.
Yeah. Your raving about it has got me so interested in playing. Finally, everything you said.
It's just fun. Like when it's fun to play. Level up and to do things, and the story's great. But like the sheer amount of like hilariousness I've been having in Sea of Thieves, like laughter and good times. Like when we play Dwarf Game or Vermintide, I'm like, I want to have that kind of fun when I'm playing a video game. So with those things combined, I think it's not a good long-term choice for me. Ultimately, even though I agree with John, this is a very good video game, and I can see how the story is getting good. Like, I have I would not contradict anything John has said about this game. I think it's very good. I just think I'm also evaluating how I'm spending my time. But the barding is awesome. I really appreciate it. And if I'm next week or the week after, I'm still playing Final Fantasy XIV, it's because I can't stop barding. Like it's still a real possibility. I do enjoy it quite a bit. It is fun. And you're showing on our video here. Our audio listeners can't see it, but you're showing some synchronized dancing, and there's a whole concert going on in the back. So this is the part about MMOs that I like. Like, just let us play and do cool shit.
This game seems to know that. This game seems to have a really good handle. I will give it all the credit in the world for this.
I don't know. Barding is the barding and dancing is really the only thing. Because I asked, and maybe John, I didn't ask, and maybe I just thought I asked. But I was like, do all the jobs have something cool like this? And it's like, it's just a bar. Like everyone's in dancing mode.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the game isn't just fun. It's not a giant funnel to raid. And that's what most MMOs feel like these days. Certainly WoW feels that way to me. It's just a funnel.
I mean, it's a great game. It's
I think to answer both Bo and Scott, because I think you guys are kind of overlapping a little, but I do think it is two different answers. Yes, the bard thing is an exclusive bard thing. And it's only there. But I do think what Final Fantasy is good at doing, and definitely better than modern WoW, is creating those moments. So we talked about this a little bit a while back, where if you ask anybody what their favorite memory of an MMO is, it's probably not going to be like, oh, that time we did the same thing that everybody else did.
Right.
Like, it's probably going to be a created moment. It's going to be something where there was this crazy thing that we ran into, or there's this crazy thing we did. Like, for me, if you ask my favorite WoW memory, it was there was a time a friend and I were fighting ogres in Nagrand during Burning Crusade, and we were on a PvP server at the time, and there was a little alliance gnome that was helping us fight, but we were Horde and he was alliance, and we didn't trust each other, and I was like, this guy's gonna betray us. This guy, the whole time we're fighting ogres together, I'm like, this guy, he's gunning for us. As soon as one of us looks weak, he's going to feast on our flesh. Yeah. And we were getting more and more nervous about it. And it was just this tense trial. And then he accidentally hit one of us with a spell. And in hindsight, it was 100% an accident. He was probably trying to click an ogre that we killed. He clicked one of us and fired off a spell. He hit one of us. We dove on him. We murdered this gnome. Killed him instantly. And then we were like, man, we killed him. And because he's a cowardly alliance player, he's going to probably bring 8 friends here now to kill us. We got to get out of here before it gets hot. So we get on our mounts, we go tearing out of there because we just murdered somebody and we know we're in trouble for it. And there's this other Alliance player coming down the road at us. And like two genuinely bad criminals that have stumbled into like a Fargo type situation, I panic and I go, he knows what we did. And we decide to kill this innocent Alliance guy on the road because for some reason, I'm sure he knows we just committed a crime. So he had to die too. So we murdered him on the road. And it was just this moment of like panic and like people making increasingly bad decisions. Like I said, just like a Coen Brothers movie, like played out in an MMO. That's my favorite, one of my favorite memories in WoW. That's not something they developed. That's just something that the system's allowed for. And I feel like that has gone away over time in World of Warcraft. And I do think Final Fantasy is better at creating a world where more of that stuff is possible because of how less restrained a lot of those systems are. And barding is a good example, and the elaborate outfits that you can make and put together, and the fact that they don't take themselves so seriously. So you do see people on really stupid mounts and wearing really stupid clothes all the time. Like, you know, you can do some of the most epic battles in Final Fantasy. Like, it will be heart-wrenching story. Like, there's a story beat in Shadowbringers that I haven't been able to stop thinking about since it happened. And it's heavy spoilers, so I can't talk about it. But I just, like, it consumed my mind, and I was deep in thought and like, man, this is so interesting. This is so good. And then the raid starts and you have somebody with a chocobo hit. And it's like, but that's fine. And that's okay. You can do that. You can pivot from this heavy hitting story moment to chocobo head man is going to help me fight this fight. And that's okay. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the world that they've cultivated and why it's so
immersion, man.
Yeah.
Immersion.
Yeah. No, I mean, whether they fell into it by accident or this is all just a really ingenious plan to be this at the stage that it's at when it's happening, given the state of the MMO market in general, I don't know, but they've done, you know, they've found themselves in a really great position, and I guess hats off to them for that because they are reaping the benefits. Back to Old World a little bit. I did play a ton of that. I talked about it so much last week I didn't want to burn everybody's ears up with it, but I really like Old World. John, did you have much of a time in there, or how'd it go with you?
Okay, this is how I'm going to talk about Old World. There's one time I had to run and take the trash out real quick, and I live in a place where it's hot, so you can't do that barefoot here.
Yeah.
And so I had to do it quick, and I was at my parents' house at the time, and I just grabbed the flip-flops that were by the door, and I started walking, and there was something different about it, and I couldn't tell exactly what it was, and I got the trash out. I did what I had to do, but I came back and discovered that I had put on my dad's flip-flops. And
there was something different about it.
And it didn't feel right.
Right.
It felt different. They were more expensive than what my flip-flops were, so they were definitely more comfortable ultimately, but they also weren't mine, and so there was an unsettlingness about it, and there was a discomfort that came along with it, and it was also like, ew, my feet are in the same spot, and so it was good, but also a little uncomfortable, and that's how I would describe Old World, because I got into it and I was like, I've played Civilization, I know what these games are like, and I loaded it up and everything was just a little wrong. Not bad, but just not quite. It's like, that's not how that should work. Like, oh, I don't like where this is. Oh, that's the notification of what's going on in the world. I don't like it there. I don't like it looking like that. So it's going to be something where I thought I would just kind of casually play it and develop an opinion real quick for the show, because I realized that all I had to talk about was Final Fantasy. But then it turned out like, no, I'm going to need to sit down. I'm going to need to learn this. I'm going to need to come to terms with the fact that this is new shoes. And
it's like it's like wearing your dad's flip-flops.
Yep.
Now when you say that, we'll know what you mean. You know, 'cause I would say that about card battlers switching from Griftlands to Tainted Grail is like maybe like putting my dad's flip-flops on.
It is like that. You're right. I think that's a fair way of putting it, because you played a lot of Civ. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. John's played a ton of Civilization in his day. But I think your father's shoes is even a better scenario or a better description, because This game was made by the lead on Civ 4. And there are things about it that harken back to the way Civ 4 worked. Not much, but a little. And so some of that is like wearing your dad's old shoes. It's literally Civilization's dad's old shoes, in a weird way. But yeah, I do think
shoes made another pair of shoes.
Exactly. I had the same problem though. Like I came to it with like some of that Civ expectation, and instead I had to play it the way the game, is designed. And it turns out I really like the way it's designed, but it did take me, a couple of runs for me to go, okay, I get the order system now. I understand why that's different and needed. It took me forever to remember that it was only Civ 6 where they started killing off your workers after they got a job done. I freaking hate that. I hate expendable workers. It drives me crazy in Civ.
Yeah.
And this game doesn't do that. Your workers are workers, and they, hang around. They just represent workers. They're not a worker. So, Civ kind of wants both things. They want expendable units, but units that last 3,000 years. And I don't know why they can't do like 5. 5 had workers that stayed around. So anyway, that's a small part of the game. But once you get the hang of that stuff and you realize what it means when you hover over a hexagon and have it say, well, this is really fertile land for a farm. Problem is it's right next to this city state and these guys are dicks. And if I put a farm there, it's just kind of leaves an open hole. If I do walls, great, but I haven't researched those yet. Like there's a lot of nuance happening there, but then there's this whole thing on the ground with your family and who's raising who and which version of the family's running which city that you founded and why your wife wants to kill you secretly. You didn't know about it. And also you caught a disease and you may die anyway. Like there's so many like these weird personal things in it that it's made it feel like a whole different game, which it should. I don't want to just play Civ again. I have Civ. We can play Civ a million times, and whenever Civ 7 comes out, there'll be a new Civ. This at least is saying, hey, here's some of those trappings and tropes of a 4X, but we're going to do it. We're going to tell a different tale here, and I really like what it's doing. So you just need more time with it, I think, because I think it's the kind of thing you'd love once it clicks.
Yeah.
It just seems like your thing.
It's the whole time, I guess, and I didn't play it for very long, to be clear.
Yeah.
But I was definitely sitting there going, man, there's some really cool stuff in this. But then in the back of my head, I was also like, I hope Civ steals all this stuff.
You like to see the underdog get wiped out by the big, giant mega corporation. I get it.
I know, and then I realized how, like, that's not really a good way to look at it, because it's like saying, I don't know, I hope McDonald's starts selling Cane's
I mean,
sauce.
they do that.
I don't know, but like it's just not it's not great.
Yeah.
They've done that to WoW add-ons. That's a normal thing. You got a good idea, you bet your ass a company's gonna.
Yeah, they may include some of that stuff, but I know what you're saying. You're not saying you want indies to struggle and then get wiped out by their bigger. You don't want Walmart to kick the mom and pop out just because they're Walmart. I get it.
Right.
But also you got to go to Walmart sometimes and you're like, I kind of wish that convenient thing that small place does was happening here at Walmart. That'd be cool.
It's me being lazy, because basically what I'm saying is I don't want to learn a new game. So I want the game that I know to put in the cool, innovative things that this game does.
Yeah.
Because I'm too lazy to learn the new game.
That's
not good. That's not right. But that is basically.
No, I get it. You know what? Part of this is 4Xs. These games are huge and complex, and once you kind of get a rhythm that you call your own, and it wins games for you, you don't have to learn it all over again. I get it. Totally get it. Like, totally get it. This is why I want to go play like a space game.
It took me a long time to learn Civ.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you spent hundreds of hours in there, so
yeah, I
get it. But Old World's rad, and Humankind may be rad too. I don't know. That comes out when? August, I guess. I'm curious about that one because those are the Endless Space guys, and I like them a lot. So we'll see how they do. All right, Bo.
Dear Martha. Oh, no,
we didn't do Dear Martha. Why did we skip over that? Why did we do that?
Did Bo? Let's give Bo his time, and we'll throw it in before email.
All right.
Thieves, I don't think it'll take too long because I played 2 games this past week.
Yeah.
Most of it was barding in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
The other game I played was Sea of Thieves, and this is a game I want to be playing now all the time. And the thing is, I refuse to play it solo because it is a good, fun friend experience, and the discovery aspect is what's best. I'm even hesitant to talk about it here. I don't know, like, Scott, you seem interested. I don't know, John, if you're going to give it a whirl or not, but You've played a
like
bit,
I said, I liked my time, but my time was solo, and I think you're 100% right. I think that game has to be played with other people for it to be good.
And not to not to look at how to min max or do things right, because I'll just talk about it. Like so on the map there was these red skulls, and we thought, oh, that's got to be something bad. Stay away from it. But we got kind of curious because one was nearby, and I was like, looking off in the distance with your telescope, and I'm like, it looks kind of like just a sunken ship. What is that? And so we went on it, but as we went there, a giant shark tried to eat our boat. Which, it's funny, I discovered Crofton's actually has a fear of sharks.
Oh,
so all of
really?
a sudden, this game is really terrifying.
Ooh, drive by all the sharks then. I want to watch that.
And the shark's the size of the boat. Like, it's enormous. But anyways, we discovered that, this is a sunken ship, and there's a treasure chest on it. And then we took the treasure chest, and we didn't know where to deliver it to. Yeah. We had no idea. We were trying to figure that out. And as we were trying to figure that out, a giant undead ship emerged from the water like Davy Jones style and started attacking us and chasing us, and like it was all skeleton. And I didn't know that about this game. It just went and like just emerged from the water, and it was such a shock. I wasn't expecting that at all, and I don't even know if it was related. Honestly, that might have been just a random encounter. I don't know if it was because we took that chest or not.
Right.
And anyways, this stuff like that, it's so delightful to be exploring and not know what to expect. And I play so many games. When I play Final Fantasy 14, I know what to expect, right? This is the raid boss. This is where I get my gear. What's the thing? This time, like, I'm never quite sure what to expect, and I really appreciate that about this game. And the other thing is, and so that's one story. By the way, on that ship, don't board their ship. I thought I could board their ship, kill the skeletons, and take it for myself. Yeah. The skeletons res after a time, so I killed them all, and then they resed and killed me.
Skeleton.
Yeah, the undead, they're tough.
Yeah.
But another thing that happened, what we did in activity, and we streamed this one this week, was we were doing one quest, but we found a treasure map, and then we went to the island where the treasure map was pointing. And it was like a riddle, and we had to find do something with the endless lizard, and we spent like 20 minutes trying to find this endless lizard, and we were about to give up, and then I found the endless lizard, and then Elder Scrolls style, the letter just goes glowing like, and I'm like, whoa, we're discovering shit. And then it reveals more clues, and we had to go through a series of clues to find actually pretty sweet load of treasure to take back. So this has all just been new. I don't know that these systems exist in the game as I play them. I still don't know what else is in there, and it's delightful. And it's, even though there's violence in the game, I really appreciate when a game can be very creative about the fun that you can have with it, and be not emphasized on fighting and killing being the thing, which they've done majestically here. So it's kind of like a little bit of No Man's Sky mixed in with a 4-player co-op style game, basically. That's there's crafting. If you, there's just little things like if you eat raw fish, your face will turn green and your vision blurry and you'll throw up. You got to cook the fish. There's stuff like that where it's like you have to do logical things in the game world, but if you don't know them, you can stumble and have these hilarious memories, like John was talking about his memory of the Emergent gameplay, and wow, there's a lot of that in here with your friends. So this has been my favorite gaming experience this year, and I'm really enjoying
That's awesome. And best in class water. Never forget that water.
It's so good. I want it in everything.
Yeah, it's really good. That thing rises up and the sun hits it. Oh, it's so cool.
And it even changes, like when the waves are high and you're in it, you go up and down with the wave, just like in real ocean. You're like, it's scary at times.
Makes me want to bust out a jet ski or something. They don't have those in pirate times. All right. Very nice. John, we're going to go back to our Dear Martha review because I didn't mean to skip it. We're going to do it now. So everybody sit back and enjoy another review from the pages of Steam as told through a Dear Martha letter. Enjoy.
My dearest Martha, today I write to you with a review of the game Reminiscence. Martha, this game is amazing for a free game. I don't usually leave game reviews, but this game blew me away, created by a single person. If you had a full-size team and funding, I could see this becoming AAA horror title. Game gave me chills the entire time, playing sitting on the edge of my seat, waiting to see what happened next. Very short-lived, but amazing nonetheless. 8 out of 10. Game gives me PT vibes all day. Fantastic gameplay, great story, and the game actually scared me a bit. And that's really saying something. Check it out, and dev, keep up the good work. I'd love to see more of this game. Has amazing potential to become one of the best horror titles if the story and gameplay was expanded. Props to the dev. One of the best games I've played in a long time, and all I can say is I want more. Keep it up, dev. This game is just too good. Yours in this life and the next, Ace Blaze Official.
Oh man, should have been Crackhead Junior, because
definitely blazed when he wrote that.
Yeah, did he write that in all caps, or is that just my?
Oh yeah,
takeaway?
let me just put this in. Let me just put the review here in our Discord. You can see it yourself.
All right,
I wanted to find this.
Yeah. You expressed that pretty well, and oh yeah, look at that, all caps, baby.
I like that the game scared me a bit, and that's really saying something. Like not quite a bit, like it's.
Yeah,
just an average amount, but that's still saying something.
Scared me a bit, I guess. Oh yeah, there it is.
A bit.
You guys can see this.
Well, it's actually one word. It scared a bit.
A bit.
Yeah,
I tried
to
make it sound like it was one word. We'll see if that came through.
Oh, it landed real well on my ear.
Yeah.
It's
like loud.
This guy has broken
What is
broken
PT
keyboard.
vibes?
PT. Oh, PT. Don't you remember PT on the PlayStation? The It was the demo that was all secrety, and they weren't telling us what it was for. But if you beat it at the end, it would say Silent Hills, and it was supposed to be Kojima was making a Silent Hill game, and it even had what's his name that ended up in Backpack Simulator, whatever it's called. What's it
Norman
called?
Reedus.
Norman Reedus. He was in the very end of it.
Backpack Simulator.
But then that all got canceled, and the demo eventually went away. I think if you never updated it. PS4 past a certain point, you still have it, but it was the scariest damn demo ever made. I mean, this is like before Resident Evil 7, so I feel like maybe since this, things have gotten scarier, but up to that point, nobody'd quite done anything quite like that. It was a hell of a thing.
Yeah,
I thought he was talking about like PTSD or like PT vibes was a.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, he means the actual PT.
Yeah, but you're right. It was probably a game he was referencing.
Yeah, PT is a hell of a thing, man. You should watch a playthrough on.
PT Go Home.
Yeah, PT.
I accidentally deleted it off my PS4, so it still shows up as something I can download, but if I try to download it, it won't let me.
Yeah, it's really dumb that they don't just let you download it. Like, who cares? Why? That's dumb. All right. Well done, everybody. It's time for emails.
That's a good question.
Quick email from a listener. This is from Bino. Yeah.
Bino.
Old
Nice.
Bino.
Yep.
Keeping us safe no matter what we do.
Look at the big brain on Bino.
Everyone loves Bino and his big brain. He says, hey guys, having never played the series before, I recently picked up Mass Effect Legendary Edition and finished the first game. Aside from the understandably clunky combat and UI, I really loved it and looked forward to diving into 2 and 3. I also have in progress playthroughs of both Sekiro and Dark Souls 1 going, which are my first experience with Souls-likes. Well, those are both good games. Especially Sekiro is really neat. I wish I liked Souls-likes and I'd play it more. Anyway, that got me to thinking, is there a game or series that you always meant to check out that you just haven't been able to for one reason or the other? The first examples that come to mind for me would probably be Dishonored or BioShock. Thanks for all you do. Really appreciate you guys. Bino. Well, Bino, I appreciate you in those special cases where I need a little Bino. All right.
What do you Bino?
It's Bino. I don't know if they have it in Canada, but up here you can buy a Bino, and it's literally a thing that makes you not fart. So that's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's the solution to beans.
Yeah. It's literally called Bino.
It's like Drano, except the opposite.
It's like Beano. No beans.
No beans.
You're not going to do to me what you intend to do.
Bino.
I never heard of Bino.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll get up there one day. It's like Tim Hortons for you guys.
I mean, I've had Bino Noir, but
Bino Noir.
I want that as a gamer tag, honestly.
Bino Noir. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. All right, to answer this question, the answer would have been Dishonored, except I finally cracked that open, but I haven't finished it yet. I do really like that game, so I need to finish it.
It's on my shame list. I don't know why I can't get into Dishonored. I've tried 3 times, and I have a hard time with that series, even though it being completely up my alley.
Everything about it is up your alley. Like everything, the tone, the setting, the perspective, the stealthy, thiefy shit in there. Like I can't.
One thing that isn't is there is. I don't know if it's in the sequel, but I know there's a morality system in the first one.
Yeah.
And let me just say, when I'm playing like an assassin, there's no morality. I know I'm a light side shepherd all the way, and you know I'm gonna be Paragon till the day I'm dead. You make me an assassin, folks gonna die.
Yeah.
Like it is not. I'm like, hey, if this guy lives, that's just another set of eyes to see me later. Dead across the board. My target's at the top of the house. Well, there's going to be a bunch of dead people between the bottom and the top. That's just how it's going to be. That's how I play those games. The only exception being, weirdly, I got the pacifist achievement for the Deus Ex game. But beyond that, I usually just take people out permanently. And that's how I play these things. And
getting pacifist is fun on Deus Ex, though.
It was fun. Yeah.
Well, it's fun because you still get to do all the cool shit. It's just you're not killing anyone doing it. Yeah. But you still get to do it. Like you still do just non-lethal takedown. Oh, except the boss.
Well, you don't get to see the cool animations. Like there's some pretty rough violence if you use like there's these metal bars. They're not even like blades. It's just these metal bars that you can just shoot through people and just like murder them.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't get to see that animation when you or there's the upgrade where you can just barf out explosives from your chest. Like you never get to do that stuff.
What's his name? Jeffrey Jansen. What's his name? The character?
Adam Jensen.
Adam Jensen. I know he's got
I'm Jeffrey Jansen.
He's got the most boring name. Adam Jensen's like the most like no offense to any Adam Jensens, but it doesn't sound like a super spy stealth future guy. It just sounds like a dude.
Oh, I can see the Adam thing because there's a lot of religious allegory with the story.
No, that's true.
Yeah. The Adam thing is okay, but Jensen is,
Jensen, get in here. I need those numbers for the fourth quarter.
You might as well just call him Jenkins, right? Adam Jenkins.
Yeah, Adam Jenkins.
It's like the opposite. I always laugh when you play like something like WoW, or it happens in D&D too, where someone will be a werewolf or something like that, and they have like the perfect name for a werewolf, and it's like, wait a minute, did your parents think you were going to be a werewolf when you grow up because your name's like Gregory Lionfang or something like that, and it's like, my powers come from the lions, and you're like, well, did they know? How'd this happen? This is the reverse of that. It's like the Adam is very good, but then it's like, well, of course his name's Jensen. He didn't know he was gonna need to have a cooler last name.
And Jensen. In the case of like, I was thinking of we watched some Thundercats this morning on the Adventure Club, and at least in those cases, it's like, oh, Lion-O is the name of the guy who's a lion. Tigra is the dude that looks like a damn tiger, and Panthro is a panther. Like, we get it. Like, it's just
so it'd be Monkey-O for monkey, and it'd be Hamsteria for the hamster.
Hamsteria is also a good gamer tag. I feel like you have created 2 great gamer tags on this show.
Hamsteria.
You didn't even try to, and you did it. You accomplished the goal we've all been trying to do, which is 2 great gamer tags
Raccoonery.
in a row. Raccoonery. No, that's where all the raccoons are made, is the raccoonery.
Raccoony. And what other animals we got? Alligator.
I mean, there's a lizard character in that thing.
Alligatoro.
Alligatoro?
Hello, guys. I'm Alligatoro. I wish to join the Thundercats. Well, you can't join. You're an alligator. Alligatoro?
I hate it. Well, anyway. But there you go, folks. Oh, did we answer his question?
None of us answered the question except Scott by giving an example that wasn't an example.
Yeah, I've been playing Dishonored, but you're right. So I don't have a good answer. John, for you, what is it? What's your big, I can't believe I've never played it game?
I can't believe I haven't, I'm remembering things based on his email, which is great because I'm just saying things he already said. But I really want to finish the first Dark Souls because I love that game, but I've never actually beaten it. I got to the notoriously extremely hard double bosses, and I let it beat me. I gave up.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think if there's a game or a series that I just feel like I've really slept on and didn't do. Oh, here's an interesting one that's topical. I have never beaten a Final Fantasy.
Oh, interesting.
Despite a love for JRPGs and thinking that I've played every single one of them, I have never beaten a Final Fantasy.
Well, technically, up to till today, you have beaten one of them, right? Because 14 doesn't have an expansion yet.
I am at the end of current content with 14, but they have said that Endwalker is going to end the current story arc for Final Fantasy. So I kind of feel like once I beat Endwalker, that will count.
Yeah,
then I will get to say it for that one. And I have beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I think we talked about it on the show. That doesn't count because that's the first part in a multi-part thing. Yeah. So I don't think that counts.
Yeah, if you're not letting me count Resident Evil 2 when it ran credits, then there's no way you get to count that.
No, you're at 50 on that.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
maybe 65. Less than 50. Maybe
like
49% because the second playthrough has an additional boss, so technically more content.
Ugh, I can't even think about going back to that game. I can't do it. And that's a great game. I don't not like that game. All right, fair enough. Bo, any... Oh, I just thought of one. Sorry, I'll just say the name and I won't even care about explaining it. But Valorant, that's the game. Valorant. It's a multiplayer game. It's that Riot shooter. I like Counter-Strike. I like Overwatch. It sounds like a combination of those things. It should be a game I would totally enjoy. My son plays it. My son-in-law plays it. A bunch of people I know play it and love it. I don't know why I haven't tried it. I just haven't played it. And I would like to. So there, that's mine. Bo, yours.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's one, but I've been trying to think of it, but I just can't think of it. I probably Nintendo stuff. It's been a while since I've had a Nintendo console, so I've missed a lot of Zeldas. I think Ocarina of Time was my last Zelda.
Oh my gosh, so you never played Wind Waker then?
No.
Shit.
I did play the Link's Awakening at some point on a handheld.
Well, that means that's a good game, but that means that you have not played the greatest Zelda title of all time, which is Wind Waker. It's so good.
Is that the one they're remaking, or Skyward Sword?
By far, right? Skyward Sword. Although, man, the reviews are pretty tight on that Skyward Sword remake, because I guess there's a bunch of underpinning stuff that drove people crazy about the Wii game, and it's all ripped out, and they're loving it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I will get a Switch. I don't know. It's stupid Steam Deck. But
I know.
Yeah, but we'll see. But yeah, that's I guess the Zeldas I tend to miss out on. Probably the biggest one for me.
Gosh dang it, Wind Waker's so good. I want all my friends to have had that experience. It's so good.
It's good. It's really, really good.
Easily the best one for me. I'd love it.
Do they have? Is it in the retro store?
No, they have it on the Wii U got a remaster of it, 1080p remaster, and it looks amazing. There's no reason they shouldn't just port that right over. I mean, they did it with Mario Kart 8. They may as well do it with that, and it pisses me off. They
should, because you're not wrong. It's the best Zelda. I love it. But you already know I have a soft spot for games where you're on boats going from island to island, and like that game was it was made for me. People, hated on the art style at the time, but I think it's so full of character.
It's so held
to this day, Link's face when he's in that barrel and about to get launched makes me laugh every time I see it. The three looks as it cuts in on his face, like the art style and the world was.
And I would argue, maybe barring Breath of the Wild, but let's give that a few more years. But I think it's the only Zelda that visually actually holds up. Like outside of like the 2D sprite based stuff, which is kind of eternal, but as far as like the 3D Zeldas go, everybody was so worked up at the time about that art style. It's the only one that still looks good. It looks amazing. They were wrong. People were just effing wrong back then. They were wrong, and now they would be wrong not to play it again. And I would pay another $50 for that game. I've done it 3 times. I'll do it 2 times. I'll do it one more time. I bought it on GameCube, beat it. Played it on Wii U, beat it. I'll do it again on the Switch. Just let me have it, Nintendo, you a-holes. All right. You can get... Oh, there's some pretty good emulated, like, run it on your PC version of that game floating around. But, it's not 100% legal.
That, too. Yeah. Don't let Nintendo know, though.
Don't tell them. But it's in 4K and everything. It's beautiful. All right. Well, that was your email, and we've answered your question there, Bino. So go back to your friends and see how that worked out. I don't know if I'm saying that. Send your emails like Bino did to talktothecore@gmail.com, because by gum, we'd sure like to read them and read them right here on the show. That's talktothecore@gmail.com. It's going to do it for us. I'm trying to think what else is going on around here. Big changes coming to the instance. If you're a fan of that show, some of that will be evidenced tomorrow. We have a guest host while Garrett's out of town. And the following week, another guest host while Garrett's out of town by the name of Jonathan Jagger.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You think Dragon
Beef... You guys
going
to go hard on that leaky thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, that leak thing is...
talk about it today, but clearly you're saving it for the old instance.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
I almost put it on there, but I figured that would be a good place for you to talk about.
Yeah. Plus, there's still questions about its source, but there's this discussion around it is valid. Plus, the instance is changing. We're talking about other games. We're going to go hard on some. I really want to get down to the bone on why the Final Fantasy thing is happening and why it's happening now, and in such an intense way. And there's a lot to say, and I know John's got a ton to say. That's why I'm having him on. So that'll be next Friday. Tomorrow, I have a guest on who he and I will talk about the upcoming New World, not to be confused with the 4X Old World.
Civ 4X like game, right?
Yep, that's the one.
I finally got it right.
Nope, you're still wrong. It's the MMO from Amazon Game Studios that's coming soon and is currently in the top 10 bestsellers on Steam. Whether people are going to be truly happy or not, we'll find out, but we're going to dig deep as to what that game promises and get ready for seeing what it actually delivers. And there's this WoW leak, which we'll definitely probably discuss as well. Anything else going on? John, do you want to say anything or give us any advice or, I don't know, spread rumors, whatever? You can do it now. Here's your chance.
I heard the instance was Core 2.
Oh, that's what I heard. Someone said, hey, Core 2, boop, like everybody wants to say that they used to say this about Core. They said, oh, no, you already have boop. Why are you doing another one? No, it's not. It's not even close. Boop is all about indies. Total focus on
indies. That was
indies.
my favorite thing about being in that chat. Was seeing people do Core 2, because when we announced that we weren't doing just HOTS and we were going to do general video games, I saw all the Boop 2, Boop 2, Boop 2. And now we've come full circle and now it gets to be Core 2, and I just felt real validated and happy.
Yeah, and until they actually hear it and realize, oh, it's not that, it's this other thing, but everyone has the patience of a flea, so that's pretty great.
I thought this was Instance Zero.
Instance Zero. I like that even better. Instant Zero Sugar. That's what I'm going to call it. Anyway, Bo.
Yeah, literally, I'm trying not to have sugar here. So
anything you'd like to add to the finality?
No, but just to add my 2 cents, since I'm not going to be a part of this WoW leak conversation. That it's you're out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of favorable. I think it just looks better than it is, and we'll be bitching about Square Enix in short order.
It always happens. It comes full circle. Yeah. We know this to be true.
So there you go. That's my contribution.
All right, I like it.
Ignore it or make of it what you will.
No, I like it. It was like a slap on the butt out the way of the door. It's perfect. We're done. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back next time with a whole nother show. In the meantime, thanks for your big support over there at patreon.com/core show. It means a great deal to us that you support us. And if you haven't, consider it. All the details are there. You can also find it and everything else at frogpants.com/core. And those emails ain't going to send themselves. talktothecore@gmail.com. That's talktothecore@gmail.com. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Bo, for John. We'll see you next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I just realized something I totally forgot. Tanner's in the chat and I spaced it.